What up, folks? I am Ultrazilla, and today we're gonna talk about Kaiju Brooklyn here on Vlogzilla. The show is now in the books. It was yesterday. It was awesome. I've talked about it a bunch here on the channel in the last couple of weeks. I kind of condensed all my coverage within those couple of weeks because I wanted it to be really fresh and, get that hype going right up to the event without it being like overbearing for, a while. I was, posting about it a lot on my Facebook, but it was something I wanted to help, make a success. I wanted to get the word out to as many people that might not have known about it, because it's a show here in New York that needed to happen. A kaiju show here in New York. For the longest time, I've said that we needed one. And I'll be honest, I am jelly that it wasn't me that started one, but I give it up to my pal John Bellotti Jr., Robo7, with the good folks at BK1 for putting this together. It is awesome. It is not easy to do, so glad I didn't have to do it, but it was something I've talked about for a long time. Ask anybody that knows me. This is something that I've wanted to see happen. I've talked to the guys on Tiki Sales about doing something like this. I've talked, at length about having a con here in New York. Because a lot of times we can't all get out to G-Fest. We can't all get out to the West Coast because I know there's shows there. New York needed a good show, a good kaiju show, where you could, be amongst your East Coast kaiju family, and you can buy some cool stuff, whether it's art, whether it's toys, meet some cool people, whatever you want. We needed it here, and the guys gave it to us. Kaiju Brooklyn was an absolute success, guys. It was fantastic. From the amount of people that came down, there was like over 1,000 people that came down. That's like, they sold X amount of tickets beforehand, pre-sale. But then they had a lot of tickets, available at the door. A lot of folks came, and it was a rainy day. It was supposed to be worse. We lucked out. It was supposed to be a lot worse. But I think it all worked out. I don't think it ever got like too bad. So folks came out, they had a good time. It seemed like I had a good time. I had a really good time, honestly, for a lot of different reasons that we're going to talk about here. But the show was a success, and I knew it would be. I always knew a New York City-based show. To have it here in Brooklyn is just the icing on the cake for me as a Brooklyn-born, obviously kaiju fan, kaiju content creator. Obviously I talk about diversity and having a diverse collection. I really believe it. I mean, if you look at my collection here, it's very diverse. But kaiju is first and foremost one of the main things I push here, and it's great to have this. It is really good. I've honestly had some problems with G-Fest, and I haven't been, but over the years I've expressed problems with the organizers and the organization of that show. But so I'm glad to have something here, home base. It is very awesome. This show is amazing, guys. It really was. And the first thing I want to talk about as far as how amazing it was, you saw me, preview of what I brought down, and you might have seen my video from yesterday morning right before we opened on how it was my table was set up, and we did pretty good. We did pretty good, but I gotta say, you know, like, in all fairness, I made sure that I wasn't coming home with too many things. I really wanted to sell a lot, just to help space here, but I also want to make people happy. Like, that's like, you know, I always talk about this, like, just be happy with what you do and what you like and stuff. And for this show, I wanted to make people happy. I wanted them to go home with something that didn't break the bank. I mean, look, I'm not gonna talk about how other vendors priced things out and how other vendors had priced stuff out here at this show, because I really didn't look too hard. I think I asked for prices on just a few things throughout the day yesterday that I was thinking about getting. But, you know, it's no secret that dealers at kaiju shows tend to be a little bit pricey. And my goal here was to be the anti-kaiju dealer. I wanted to make sure folks went home happy. I had a bucket of $5 items. I had a bucket of $10 items. And then most of the stuff on the table itself was actually everything that was on the table itself, to start, because then I like move stuff around, was either 15 or 20 bucks. And most of it was 15 bucks. We're talking like tons of movie monster series figures and Playmates figures. There was NECA figures. There was all, you know, you guys know when I did that NECA video that I was gonna sell some. I think in total I took 6 NECA with me. 7 NECA with me. And like 4 of them sold like just as we got underway. Like right off the bat, it was like my first or second sale, right? So that was really cool. Glad to make people happy, you know, glad to give them prices that they were shocked about, you know, like you know, as a collector, as someone that reviews and collects this stuff, I know this stuff can get pricey, but I'm a real big, like, I really feel that once this stuff is here, I'm not caring so much about like the value of it, appreciate it. I don't collect this stuff for that. I never have. You know, like when you sell stuff on eBay, it's a little bit different, you know, because there's all these like fees and stuff that you want to add in. But at a show like this, when you're seeing people face to face, man, I want them to leave my booth happy. So, you know, a lot of people did. I had 5 large, like, tote-like bags. I don't know what they're called. They're like storage bags. They're giant, that my wife bought, like, giant bags. Because I didn't want to do boxes. Boxes always tend to be heavy, and my last show I almost, like, destroyed my back. So she had bought these giant, like, storage bags. They're, like really, really duffel-sized bags, like, huge bags. So we had 5 filled with stock. We came home with 1. That is incredible. So to say we did good on that end is an understatement. Like, and you know, we knew we were doing good, but I didn't know until I came home how good. And you know, like, ridiculously happy with that aspect of it, because like I said, for the most part, we were selling stuff that was really cheap. Then we had, you know, a few higher ticket items, but not like super high. So that was good. You know, just a few extra things that I brought, bigger box stuff. You know, and all but 1 went, so that was cool. But most of my stuff was in the price range I said before. So that was awesome. You know, making people happy is fantastic. You know, and, you know, like my wife said, man, And, you know, big shout out and thank you to my wife for coming with me. She originally was supposed to be at a baby shower yesterday, but because of me going there, the rides to where it was limited to begin with, and then, you know, one of the, you know, people canceled out, and the rains were forecasted to be really, really bad. It was like flash flood stuff going on, like warnings all day Friday, so she ended up canceling out of that. So last minute I had someone to help me because I really ended up feeling like I needed it. So big shout out to my wife. She was an amazing helper, and I great partner, you know, for me at this show. So thank you so much to my wife. You know, that was incredible, you know. So yeah, but she was saying, these are my people. You know, and you want to leave a good impression with people, and you want to make people happy, and in turn a lot of folks made me happy. And I'm not just saying that because of the sales. I'm saying that because a lot of folks came up to me and they actually knew my channel, and that was the best part of it. See, that's the thing that I was a little scared of. When I contacted John to be part of the show, I was going, the sales was it's secondary. I was going to help promote Ultrazilla and do some video and you know, do some photos and stuff, which I'll be honest, at the end of the day, photo wise I didn't get a lot. Video, I was able to do video the day before. I was able to photos the day before. Video that, you know, yesterday morning, right before we opened up. But then once the show started, those first few hours were like ridiculously busy. And then I was just exhausted. So first and foremost, I went there for Ultrazilla and then the sales later. But the sales ended up being so much, that such a big part of it that, you know, my focus was there, and my focus was like meeting people face to face. And it was awesome. It was awesome. Like I said, a lot of folks knew who I was, and that was awesome, because you never know. You don't know, you know, if people know who you are, you know, and know what you do, and like what you do. So I mean, this was the first kaiju specific show that I had a table at, and it was awesome. You know, I had little kids that came up to me and said, "I see you on TV." I mean, that was insane. I had a couple of people wanting to take pictures with me. What? You know, like, that was amazing. But, you know, a lot of folks came up, shook my hand, and said, you know, I watch you, thank you for your reviews, thank you for your inspiration at some points. I was just like, wow, this is incredible. So, kind of like validation for what I do here as Ultrazilla, you know, like, it's quite incredible. And it's quite cool to just, you know, I know folks know what my real name is, a lot of folks, but to be known just as Ultrazilla is totally awesome. I love that. I love that fact, and I cherish that, and I want that. I'm Ultrazilla, and that is awesome. And Kaiju community, I know we have our ups and downs. I know we have our battles here over whatever, but at the end of the day, man, like, we're all one community, and you know, I appreciate you guys as much as it seems like you guys appreciate me, and that was just so awesome. And the best part of my day was meeting people. It was just so good. I was so absorbed in all of that like, yeah, I mean, yesterday after the opening, I don't really have much footage of how amazing and crazy it was. I was just so like absorbed in the moment that, you know, that's why I wanted to do this video too. It's just like an extra like little thing at the end here. I think I'm putting photos and videos, a little bit snippets here and there of just like tables and stuff. But, you know, meeting a lot of folks was awesome. You know, I got to meet some, you know, fellow content creators, which is very, very cool. whether they're from like, you know, photography, doing Instagram, or, you know, here on YouTube. Just, you know, lots of very, very cool folks. You know, and then the little, you know, camaraderie with everybody that was exhibiting is always good, and it's always fun, and it always strengthens your bonds with a lot of people, and that's great. The show was small, the venue was small, but the way it's laid out, I gotta say, is awesome. It's like one room, but it's like a long room, and it's, you know, and the people, the vendors were like either all on one side or all on the other side. With only one at the very, very end, and the middle was a really, really big space. So while there was a lot of folks there, I felt like it wasn't like bananas, you know, like overcrowding. So it is a really, really nice space for this. And I know the guys want to make Kaiju Brooklyn a little bigger, but man, I would think about going one more time in this space because it's such a great space. You know, like, it really is. I really like the space a lot. You know, I'm down for whatever, but the space is very, very cool. I would love to see more events like this there. So if Kaiju Brooklyn comes back there, then that would be a great thing, because it's just a great theater, a very, very awesome space. And another thing about the organizers and the guys at BK1, Anti and BK1, like, I don't think we've ever met before Friday, but we have a lot of mutual connections. And you know what's really cool, guys? This show continues to be an extension of this, like, artist scene that was developing while I was growing up here and stuff. And the people in that community still, like, are really cool with each other, good friends. I saw a lot of old friends here that I haven't seen in a bit, especially in these pandemic years. I haven't seen that many people from, you know, like, old school folks that I know, like old friends. And you know, like, it was really good to see them. It's really good to see everybody still supports each other, and man, it pulled on my heartstrings a lot, you know. And that was really cool. Very, very awesome. I got to see some, like, you know, fellow artists. Yes, I'm an artist too, and yes, you know, and I'm in the, you know, comic community. You know, I got to see my pal Jeff Zorno, you know, who I'm working with on a book right now. I can't really talk much about it, but we're working on a book right now, a horror book that's really awesome. So I can't wait for you guys to see that. So we haven't seen each other in a bit either, and but we've been working on this book with you know, great writers and creators of this project, and it was just really cool to see him. You know, and there's so many other cool folks, again, like Dope Pope, who does amazing stuff. Like, he did the Orger that's on, is it right back there? He's up there. He's like next to Space Godzilla. I think you see his back. You know, he's designed so many great figures, and he's so cool to talk to. He's a really good guy. And he had Gorgo on display from Titanic Creations, which he designed, and it looks awesome. And the 30cm one is coming out. Now, I'm going to talk about that in the next Ultra Z News, which you should see tomorrow night. I'm a little backed up. I haven't done an Ultra Z News. I've had Toy Fair, I've had this, I've had a lot of things going on. Toy Fair, my Toy Fair coverage was like a news, basically. But, you know, Dope Pope was really cool to see, and hoping to review the Titanic Creations Gorgo. I had not jumped the board on the pre-orders of that, you know. It went up during a time where I wasn't pre-ordering a lot, so I was waiting to see when it came out, if I could still get it, but, you know, I might be getting one to review, so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I can make that happen for you guys. I know you would love to see my opinion. I love Gorgo. I want to see it happen too, so we'll see, you know, if we could work it out, but, you know, that's what we were talking about, so that's really cool. Ultrazilla Jr. Talked Dope Pope's ear off on Friday night. He didn't come yesterday because it was going to be a really long day, and we didn't know how much it was going to rain, and, you know, if he got really tired, if my wife could take him back, you know, easily. So it was going to be like a whole thing. So he didn't come yesterday, but we took him with us Friday to help set up. So he got to meet a lot of people. He got to meet EJ from Ultraman Connection, and they had such a great conversation. So he had a really good time seeing all the different like booths being set up on Friday, which is cool. Michael from Vampire Robots was really cool with him as well, so it's a shout out to him. Seismic guys were very cool, so shout out to them. Seismic, my apologies to Chris. I really was gonna so about to get that servo Gridman, but and then I was like talking to my wife. I was like, oh, I gotta get this. I want to get this, and you know, it was one of those things where I went with the cheaper thing. And I'm gonna show you what I got in a second for now, but that's on my want list. You know, there was stuff around that I wanted to get, you know, but I couldn't. I ended up only picking up two things. Well, I'll show you in a minute. If you saw my Facebook or Instagram, you already know what they are. But yeah, Ultrazilla Jr. had a great time on Friday during setup, and he was already tired, and we were there only like a couple of hours. So, and it was no one there at that point. It was just like us and half of the folks vendors. So that was enough for him, I think. But I think he would have had an awesome time, honestly. If we were just going as fans, he would have had an awesome time. A lot of the kids there had a fantastic time, it looked like, so that was really cool. Shout out to all the kids that came up all day long to talk to us. I had a good time talking to you guys. I mean, Ultrazilla Jr., you know, he's a young kid, so I'm very used to talking to kids, and I love it, you know, so it's very cool. So shout out to all you kids out there. You know, you put a smile on my face every time. The future of kaiju collectors and kaiju lovers is in great hands. That the show, you know, put in perspective for me. It's about you guys, and I'm glad. Again, going back to, you know, my first thing I was talking about, I'm happy to have been able to put so many toys into kids' hands yesterday. That was awesome. You know, like, so many parents, you know, were so happy to get their kids' stuff from my booth, because it was a bank breaking, you know, so that was great. Honestly, that was so awesome. But, you know, shout out to my pals at Muteki Sales, who were there, you know. Brennan, who I've only seen, you know, met once before, and very briefly, honestly, so we got to talk a bit. You know, that was cool. Casey, who I never met, you know, very cool dude. You know, his whole family, very nice family. His son was the one that said, I saw you on TV, and that, like, you know, made my heart go, boo, you know, so, very cool day, you know. Joe from Kaiju Sketches, Giuseppe, you know, just a really cool and awesome dude. Glad we met him, you know, I met him, like, you know, hit it off, instant friendship there, you know, so a lot of cool guys. Steve Shanks, who was right next to us, really cool dude, kept checking in on us. Just a good people all around. The folks at Tokyo Bronx were very nice. They were on the other side of us. So, you know, just awesome all around. Like, I could go through the list of everybody. But there was nobody at this show that didn't seem cool. Like, all the vendors were very well chosen. Great job, John, putting this together, you know, and, you know, it's not easy, you know, when you hear a show like this, and you only have so much space, you know, not everybody that wants a table is going to be able to get a table, but I think he made a great, you know, selection of folks, good amount of artists, good amount of dealers, you know, I think that's really cool. I would say more folks like me, you know, I'm just a little small potato channel, but there was so many folks that were so happy to meet me, and that was awesome, you know. I know there's other content creators in the tri-state area that, like, probably, you know, folks would love to see too, so that's a cool thing to tap into, that I feel like a lot of places don't do, so that's a good thing if you're going to expand, you know. That's a good folks to reach out and bring in as folks at tables. I think that puts a lot of smiles. YouTube is very big right now, and a lot of folks know people on YouTube. In a lot of ways, the content creators are as big as the actors in the movies sometimes, and that is excellent. I mean, I think that's says a lot about a lot of work we do here. So that would be like one avenue to go down. That would make Kaiju Brooklyn even more unique, because I thought the reaction to me was awesome. And I'm a channel with like 13,000 people. There's channels with even more, a lot more. That was cool. So I'm still happy about that. Please keep me aboard. I really had a great time though. It was awesome. Like I said, in my hometown, amongst friends and stuff, I've always been the kaiju guy, and it's good to feel like that was elevated a bit by this con, and it was awesome. It was so good, happy with how all of it went down. So I mean, I can't say kudos enough. I don't have tons of photographic and video evidence of the aftermath and during, but I have plenty before, and that's why, here on this video, I just want to make sure it is understood by those guys that you did a great thing, put on an awesome show, and it was excellent. So what did I pick up? Well, this is kind of cheating. I talked about this on Instagram last night, but prior to the show, knowing that I was going to be at the show, knowing that Muteki was going to be at the show, I had asked my pal Ray, who couldn't be at the show, who's in Japan right now. Hope he's having a safe and pleasant travels. I know he's there already, so, all good. But, hope he has a good time, while he's out there. I talked to him. I was like, hey, I'm going to be at the show. I know you guys are going to be at the show. Might want to get a few things. You have a few things in stock. I can't get everything right now. But I want to get something, and I did finally grab the SH Monster Arts Gigan from them. So I actually sent Ray money for this ahead of the show, a few days ahead of it, so I just don't have to deal with money being exchanged by, us. So, that's it, and then I just pick it up. This is something we have done for years. But yeah, it was good to go. So as the show started, right before the show started, when I got there, I went to Casey, I believe, was at the booth, and I grabbed my Gigan. So you're gonna see a review. No unboxing of this. It's been out a little bit. Straight up review coming soon. I have too many things to review now. I've all of a sudden have like 9 or 10 brand new items, 2023 items. Not that all I got at Kaiju Brooklyn. I got 2 things, but that have come out recently that I haven't had a chance to review or whatever. And like 3 other things, 2 from 2022, those 2 Ultraman things that I got at Toy Fair. And that Pac-Man thing I got that at the St. Anne's Carnival. Then at the end of the show, one of the vendors was the legendary St. Mark's Comics, who has a store. Their store now, they're not on St. Mark's Place anymore. Their store now is in Industry City, right next door to the theater where the Kaiju Brooklyn was. I always go there. This is like, a place I always go to. But, when, as the show was going on, I stopped in to St. Mark's, and I saw that they had a NECA creature from the Black Lagoon. I'm like, I definitely need to pick that up before we leave. Actually, I think I saw it on Friday. So I was like, I definitely need to pick that up before we leave. And at the end of the day, I was just like, like I said, there was a few things I wanted to buy, but after talking to my wife, I was like, you know what? Just get one thing for now at the end of the show. And I was just like, yeah, I'm trying to get, if I'm getting 2023 stuff, I want to get them as soon as possible. So I did pick up Creature from the Black Lagoon from St. Mark's Comics. They didn't have it at the show. They mostly stuck with more kaiju stuff, but I always considered Creature from the Black Lagoon, even as a universal monster, like kind of like a kaiju, maybe like a kaijin, right? I don't know. He's a monster. He's kind of kaiju-esque. It's what always attracted me to Creature from the Black Lagoon. You guys seen me review plenty of Creature from the Black Lagoon figures here because he's just, out of the Universal monsters, he's my favorite for obvious reasons. Look at him. Look at Gilman. He's just awesome. So, yep, finally picked this up. Not finally, it just like recently came out, so it's not like I'm like so behind on this. So, another thing you'll see, but those are the only two things, and they're kind of Kaiju Brooklyn adjacent. You know what I'm saying? One that I paid for beforehand, but I did pick up at the show, and one that I picked up from the show, from a vendor at the show, but not from what they were vending at the show, but from their store next door. So, that's what I ended up grabbing. But yeah, it is what it is. That my small haul. But it's not really about that. I wasn't really planning to get much anyway. On another note, for Muteki sales, I was gonna get Iris from them, but they sold out. They bought, they only had like one and one left that they brought to the show, and they sold out of it. So chances of me reviewing Iris have like diminished by a lot. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I still do want to get it, but it's pricey. So we shall see. But that's it from there. The show, all told, again, it was amazing. I had a great time. I sold a lot of stuff. I know some folks have said, "Oh, I'm surprised you're selling these things," but I can't keep everything. I have so many things from so many genres. And that's why, and a couple of shows I did, like I did that one flea market, and I did the St. Anne's show, Comic Carnival, prior to this summer. And that was like getting my feet wet, at these, and I felt like this was a really good step forward because I definitely want to do more of these. It's just a matter of where and when and how much it costs to get a table. That is very, very big. I think Kaiju Brooklyn priced everything right as far as that goes, but there's a lot of factors that go into that as well, from like an organizer's perspective. So, I don't know what the price is going to be like next year, but here's hoping they stay very good, because that was one of the big things that helped, was that. So it's very cool. That's like so variable depending on the venue and stuff too. But you can only hope, right? But it was really good. It was really good. This show was excellent, and I had a great time all around from like every aspect of it. So kudos once again to Robo7, to BK1, to everybody that came out, from the vendors to all of the fans, and I had a great time. I really, really did. So I want to really thank you from the bottom of my heart for making this show happen. Because without the Kaiju community at all, this show, in total, this show wouldn't have been the success it was. So it's a team effort all around, from everyone I mentioned. So thank you. Till next time. Peace out, peeps.